Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. Welcome to you if you're in YouTube land. It's great to have you along. My name is Max Peterson. I'm the CEO of Smith & Sons Remodeling Experts here in Canada. We're coming from our head office / studio here in Vernon, British Columbia in the north end of the Okanagan. And today is a pretty special day. We have got a special guest on the show, and it's going to be a good show. It's going to be an action-packed show. And I absolutely know if you're in the contracting sector, you're a general contractor, I absolutely know you're going to get some benefit from the next 30 minutes of chatting with this fine gentleman. I'd like to introduce Tom Reber from the Contractor Fight. He's a HGTV host. He's an author, a speaker, founder of the Contractor Fight. He handles the Contractor Fight podcast, which has over 400 episodes. He also has the Contractor Fight YouTube channel with 46,000 plus subscribers with over 400 videos. Tom, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast.
Max, I appreciate you having me, man. How you doing today?
Like I said to you yesterday, I'm always in the shit. It's only the depth that varies.
Can I use that, or is that just
absolutely you
can?
Like
your thing?
No.
Right,
you
I
can,
like that.
You can steal it because it's a fact. It is a fact. There is no such street as Easy Street. Last time I checked. So no, you're more than welcome, man. So great to have you along. I appreciate you taking out the time to hang with us. So it's great.
Thanks, man.
Quick question. When was the last time, or have you ever been interviewed by an Aussie? I'm glad you have to think about it. That's a good indication.
Well, probably three years ago now. I was on a podcast over there, and I am actually going back on his podcast, I believe, in the next week or so here.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been a while though. It's been at least 3 years.
Okay, golden. So, all right, man, let's get it started. For those guys and gals in the game, in the construction sector who, for the one or two folks that haven't heard of you, give us a bit of a background on Tom Reber, and then tell us about how you went from that being involved at whatever level and then into the coaching world, man. Give us a quick 2 or 3 minute bio.
Yeah. Cool. I appreciate that. So I'm from outside of Chicago, a little town called Wheaton, Illinois. I come from a family of contractors. I did everything in my life to not be a contractor because all the ones I knew were broke, dirty, never made, were never home. And all my friends growing up had dads that were lawyers and engineers, and they went on vacations and had fancy houses and cars. And I was like, I just very rarely saw success in the trades growing up. Fast forward my time in and out of the Marine Corps. I ended up starting a painting business because that's the trade that I grew up in with my uncle. Grew that pretty quickly, 300-400 projects a year outside of the Chicago area. I sold my half of the company in 2012. I just felt there was a next level for me, a new season of life where I wanted to have a bigger impact in the world. And so I started, and it started because somebody tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to speak at an event one day about how to market their business, because we did a pretty good job of that. And that kind of lit my pilot light, per se. And one thing led to the next, and we created this thing called the Contractor Fight, where we work with tens of thousands of contractors literally all over the planet, which is amazing. We put out more free content than anybody in our space, because I just believe, like, our mission is to help bring respect and dignity back to the trades. And you want to move faster, you can hire us or another coach or whatever. That's cool, but there's no reason for us to not put it all out there and help people get better. And we've been doing that for quite a while now. And we work with everything from home builders to GCs to remodelers, painters, specialty trade guys, you name it. They're in our community. And I guess the big edge that we have is we really address the mindset of things, not just the math of business and marketing and some of the strategic and tactical things, but we call it the Contractor Fight because it's about winning the 6 inches between your ears, right? You got to win in your brain. And sadly, most contractors, in fact, most human beings have an inaccurate view of themselves. They tell themselves the wrong stories, which turn into the wrong beliefs and actions and results. And so we deal with really digging into those limiting beliefs and that negative self-talk that's holding people back, and we build you up, give you some confidence, and the rest is just math and marketing and stuff from there, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like we chatted on the phone yesterday, and I guess from as a qualified carpenter and a builder, having spent 32, 33 years in the game, I had to figure out what the gaps and the deficiencies were in my headspace as an operator, because I believe that I wasn't the only one. We get taught, and I say this to a lot of guys, we get taught how to knock nails into wood, build it plumb, square and straight, and we hope to get paid for that service. That's essentially the guts of it, right? Unfortunately, all of those ducks don't align after that or prior to that. And that's why we come up with, and it's amazing because I started it with the mindset, because I say to my guys too, the more you learn, the more you earn. You have to invest in yourself, and then you've got to have a level of belief in yourself that's not arrogant, but it's an absolute prerequisite to success, because I don't know who said it, but they said if you believe that you can, you're halfway there. If you believe that you can't, you're right. And it's so important, and I think you become like, the people that you associate with. And so, it's super important. And I guess, so I'd love to get your insight on a few of these things, the mindset, and then we talk a little bit about marketing, management, mentoring, and mastery, and just see, I just would love to get your insight, along those lines. But I'm telling you, like you say, is about, you got to get your head straight first. And I think we talked about yesterday about having an abundance mindset and not a poverty mindset. That's key. If you look for the negative, you will see it. If you look for the positive, there's a good chance you're going to walk into that as well. So, man, what do you want to chat about? I'm not going to sort of go down a list or anything like that. Where do you like? You love to focus on mindset. I can hear that in your voice. What else do you sort of speak to your group about? What are a couple of the key things that you like to really tackle because you see that as their Achilles heel, say?
Yeah, well, this everything we do is rooted in mindset, but one of the big phrases we use in the fight a lot is you got to stop stealing from your family. Right? We steal time, we steal money, we steal memories because we don't work on ourselves. We don't get oxygen, we don't own our crap. Some of the things that we talk about a lot. We will lay in traffic for our customers. We'll make sure that their job is built. We'll make sure our people are paid. Everybody's getting their needs met but us. And so one of the big things we talk about a lot is you got to make that commitment that first and foremost, you got to take care of you. You got to take care of your own. Otherwise, you're not going to build the business you want to have or have the impact that you want to have if you're always looking how to pay your next bill, or your home life isn't what it needs to be. We just had a big event in Denver, had over 350 contractors there. And one of the big themes was living a profitable life. And probably half of the event over 3 days was spent on relationships, and you've been in this game long enough to see, and maybe even experience, I don't know you very well yet, but just the toll that it takes on a marriage, a relationship, your kids, this and that, if you're not truly committed to making sure that this business is adding value to our lives instead of just taking from it. So, and that's, so for us, it all starts with, you got to own your crap. Like, what is the thing that is holding you back from truly reaching those goals that you want to have? And for me, I rode the little yellow short bus for 2 years in grade school. I was in special ed. And so that set that and some other things in life that I won't go into right now. We don't have time, but that set the tone for me that I was stupid. I wasn't smart. I couldn't compete intellectually with people. And when I tell that story to contractors, I'm blown away by how many grown men come up with tears in their eyes and they're like, dude, that was totally me. And that's still me today. I'm still dragging that around. And I'm like, well, dude, the way you're going to turn that around is you got to go toe to toe with that thing now. You can't avoid it anymore. And that's how we build our confidence is you make a commitment to yourself and then you honor that commitment, and that builds a little confidence and so on. So something as simple as hitting the snooze button erodes your confidence, where when you get up, when you say you're going to get up, or if you say you're going to work out for a half an hour and you do it, your confidence goes up. And so we really work with people on identifying what that negative self-talk is, and then how to turn it around and turn that into something that you can be confident in. And then it snowballs from there in every area of your life.
Yeah, I think, one thing that I use myself, because I essentially, came from the similar background as far as, I mean, if I dragged out my report cards, you won't find a single A or B. I mean, I just wasn't an academic.
Right.
And I think, with the trades that I talked to, and we just onboarded our, newest franchisee last week, and is that we are in the game because it is a practical vocation. And so, I talk about self-awareness, and if you're aware that what it is that you're good at is actually, or the way that you learn is visually. I was a visual learner, but it took me a while to realize, because I wasn't an academic. I had no prowess at school as an academic, but when I hit the trades as a 16-year-old, I found that I got some traction pretty quickly, and I found that I actually began to comprehend different structures and processes and methodology within this building game. And so I became, I felt like I became a bit of a ninja, and I found my groove, and I think, what we need to do is to go back to the basics and understand our assets and our advantages and our strong suits. Try not to focus on too much of the negative, just accept that it is a part of your DNA, but really find the focus and really deep dive into that. And then, I think this is the trap, because I spent 20 years as a carpenter doing framing before I went and got my builder's license. And one of the walls or the barriers to entry was that the application and the qualification process to get a builder's license was like bloody school again. And so I literally it took me 3 times to get my chops together to be able to get that builder's license. So, but what it meant when I did that, I think when I look back how challenging that was, it was challenging, but then what I soon found out, once I became a retail-centric facing type operation, all of a sudden what became apparent to me is that I have no skills in running or developing or scaling up a business. And so I think from that moment, I had this rude shock of like, oh shit, I thought getting my builder's license was hard. Actually running a profitable business that I can build, that's actually going to be harder. And we, our biggest catch cries with our guys, and when we're doing recruitment or whatever, is that, we provide more leads, show them how to make more profit and better lifestyle. And that's what resonated with me with, your quick chat just a second ago, is that, hang on, stop ripping yourself off. You have to understand that the reason you got into the business was to create a lifestyle that you could enjoy. We don't just work, or so we don't just live just to work. We work so that we can enjoy a lifestyle. And so, and to your point, your other point too, is that, builders and carpenters and contractors, we don't get the respect, we don't get the reward, and we don't get the recognition. And so that's the other thing that we focus on, how we give value to our guys. And I know it's amazing when I was talking to you yesterday, there was such such an alignment between, what we're trying to deliver, and when you're talking about putting out the massive amount of content that you have, and, you're 400 deep into a podcast and I'm only 52, it's like, my belief is that, there is so many general contractors that will eventually, either subscribe or join Smith & Sons or whatever. It's just there's an abundance, right? We don't need everybody. I just need 100 good men. That's what my goal is, to really build an elite group. And so, I really, and you know what, we talked about this too yesterday. There's guys who go, Max, I will never ever get involved with a franchise business model, but I'd love to do business with Tom Reber. And I love that because my thing, my groove, my business model, whatever, it may not suit everyone. They might, and I just love that about the contractor community. And I think there's a shortage of that kind of availability of information, contact bases, and influence in the marketplace. And I guess I'm inspired by what you do, and it just helps me to sort of keep motivated to do what I do.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's funny. You talked about not doing well in school. I think a lot of us believed like we weren't smart. I'll speak for me because I didn't do well in school. And what I've realized is that contractors are some of the most intelligent people there are when it comes to problem solving. Think about, you got to be a shrink with your people, with your customers. You got to learn how to sell and market. You got to have some math skills. You got to know how to problem solve, not build something that's going to fall down in a year. There's a lot of things that go into this. So I want contractors listening to this, give yourself a pat on the back.
100%.
You're bringing way more than the table than you think. Here's the other thing. I was watching some of your franchisees and their testimonial videos and stuff like that. And they were talking about how it's really nice. They've been in the trades for so long. and they just didn't want to deal with all that back end stuff. They didn't want to have to deal with all the marketing and this and that. One of the things we say in the fight a lot, Max, is I'm like, if you're not willing to do what it takes to be a successful business owner, then quit and go work for someone else, or in this case, your case,
is another option.
Get a franchise.
Yeah.
And just go sell and produce the work and take a lot of that pressure off that you alleviate, for people. So
options.
The trades are a great place to be. There's a lot of money to be made. You get done working each day, each week. You could be proud of what you've done. You're adding value, and a lot of people can't say that. And I think, we talk about bringing respect and stuff back, and you can't talk about bringing respect back to the trades without talking about the money that we make. I tell guys, if you've been in business more than a year and you ain't making $100,000 a year in your pocket, you're messed up. And you've been in business 3 to 5 years and you're not putting $250 in your pocket, then you ain't trying, because it's so easy to make money. This is one of those beliefs that used to be a limiting belief of mine, that it's hard to make money. It is, and because I've worked on it, I just believe it's easy to make money, and money falls into my lap. In fact, one of my affirmations every day is I'm a magnet for money and success. And it's just crazy, because you put your RAS, your reticular activating system, in your brain. Whatever you tell your brain that is important, it will find evidence for more of it. Because so if you tell your brain, nobody wants to work, I can't find guys, you're going to find more evidence for that. If you tell yourself, man, there's plenty of people that want to come work for me and be my project manager, you will find more evidence for that.
Because your subconscious doesn't discern reality from just
Exactly.
It will believe, if you say I'm a killer and I'm a magnet and I'm a money magnet, it'll go, okay, lock that in, we're good to go. If you tell it the other, it'll go, okay, lock that in, you're a loser. And so we really do have to, apply some of those basic principles internally before we see some external outworking. Just while you're talking, Tom, I'm thinking too that, there's going to be a lot of guys, that are going to watch this video. And, I was thinking, as you're talking about, and you want to improve the way they think, but some of these guys don't know what they don't know. They don't even understand the concept of really reprogramming that thought process. So what I really love to do is dig deep and just talk to guys. If there was a guy sitting out there going, whoa, this is all new, what's the first thing that a GC can do to alter the course, change the trajectory of his business in the event? Let's say all he's been doing is 150 grand in sales, which is nothing much in the reno game. What's the first thing, or the first piece of advice you give him to really alter the course in the next 12 months for his business? Obviously, it's got to do with mindset. What other things practically would you advise? I mean, you got to get some context on the guy. Just say he's a general contractor. He gets 1 or 2 leads a month. He has to go and give those people quotes for free. He has to. He basically has to take the job at the discounted rate that the client's asking. Like, there's all of this kind of shit where I call it the tail wags the dog. The tail doesn't wag the dog on my watch, So what do you suggest to guys that this is all just new news to them? How are they going to alter the trajectory and change the course of their destiny in the next 12 months, 2 years, 5 years? How do we get them out of the blocks?
Yeah. I think that's a phenomenal question. And the first thing that came to my mind, and this was my experience, is I got picky about who I hung out with.
Nice.
I know we'll talk about the book later and stuff, but I have a chapter in here called Show Me Your Friends.
Yep.
There's a reason our moms and grandmothers told us, be picky who you hang out with, right? Because you become them. And I would say, hands down, you put aside all the strategic and tactical stuff with business and stuff, the number one thing that's going to move you forward is hanging around people that are a half a lap ahead of you, and just the way they think, the way they operate. So whether that's them buying into your franchise, right? Because you're going to surround them with the stuff that they need, or our programs, or a free group, or I don't care what it is. Just get around people that you resonate with, because you're not on an island, you're not alone. And a lot of these guys, I was there, feel like nobody gets me. I was doing a lot of the right tactical things for many years, but until I made a choice that I'm going to hang around with, bigger thinkers and people that challenge my assumptions and things like that, I didn't really have the big results that I have now. So I would say, be really picky about who you allow into your circle. What's that old Jim Rohn quote? That you become the average of the 5 that you hang out with, right? So, and it doesn't mean you don't love your friends and this and that or whatever, but sometimes we hang around. I mean, think about this. I always tell contractors, quit pricing your work based on the going rate, because the going rate is determined by a bunch of guys that don't know their numbers. So why would we base it on that? So kind of the same idea here is, don't hang out with a bunch of other broke guys, that have scarcity thinking and this and that. Be super picky about who you hang out with, listening to podcasts like this, or books, YouTube, whatever. You got to fill your brain with good stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got to reset. I think that's what it is. If you're going to change the outcome, you've really got to start with, what it is that you're currently sort of evolved in, what's your ecosystem look like, and you really need to do a spring clean. It's like, is it, my old man, you said to me once, it's either, you're either hanging around people or doing things that are either life-giving or life-taking. It's going to be one of those. And, it's not like you don't want to spend time with your mum, but if she's just ultra negative and she's really busting your bubble and she's not supporting you in your endeavor, love her to pieces, just keep it to a minimum as far as the contact goes. You know? So, I think that's, it's super practical. And, a lot of the guys don't realize that the negative influence, because they're hanging around with drinking buddies, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind sitting around drinking beer, but I definitely am selective. I haven't got time. I just haven't got time. If I'm gonna chill out, I want to chill out with some other ninjas, some other guys and gals that are killing it.
Well, I encourage people to just start observing people right now. Like, chances are, if you see somebody who smokes, they hang out with other smokers. If you see somebody who's overweight, their best friends and their closest relationships are overweight. You see somebody who's ripped and in shape and dialed in and making money, chances are their friends are the same exact way. So this relationship, who you hang out with thing with, is crucial. Now, somebody also might be thinking, well, I don't know how to break into a group like that. I don't know where to find these people. Listen, put it on your brain that you're going to make it happen and it'll show up. That's number one.
Because it's life and death.
Number two is be okay being the dumbest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we've heard that one before. You don't ever want to be the guy that knows it all in the room. I'm constantly seeking out groups and mentoring and coaches for myself that are light years or even half a lap ahead of me, because I know it's just going to call me higher. And then last thing I would piggyback with that is, don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. That's when you grow. Put yourself in a situation. I remember scraping together a couple of my last nickels to get to an event, because I knew I needed to change who I was hanging out with. This is many, many years ago. And because I made it to that event, it introduced me to one person who, over the course of a few years, introduced me to somebody else. And next thing you know, I've got this circle of winners around me, all because I made that decision to get uncomfortable. And I went to something I couldn't afford to go to and all that other stuff, because I knew it was that important.
Yeah, I think, I say it often too, is you've got to get comfortable living outside your comfort zone. If you're in a startup, and if you're brand new to this kind of thought process, you are going to now spend the next 2 to 5 years, really getting from the runway to 40,000 feet to a cruising speed. It's just, and I tell that all to my guys. They think it's so wonderful to be branded up and have all this marketing prowess, backing you and all that sort of thing. But I'm saying, you are going to spend the next 2 to 3 years like really on the hook and going after it, because you're trying to get altitude, and it just doesn't come easy to you. It's not natural, because if you already knew how to do it, you would be doing it. So
you'd be doing it.
That's right. Yeah. So, they're going to have to really get comfortable living outside their comfort zone. Now, let me ask you too, Tom, I mean, this is all a really good in theory, right? But I want to get your spin on, because I believe what I do, because I eat, live and breathe. And I mean, I've been married to the same gal now for 26, 27 years. We've got 6 kids. And really it's her as a person, being able to handle that. She's a stay-at-home mum, and she really looks after the home. So she's the CEO at home, I'm the CFO, and that's that. We get that sorted out. But because I'm what I would regard myself is a purebred entrepreneur. I eat, breathe, and live this business. It gives me so much joy, because I believe in legacy over currency. It's not like I'm not a capitalist. I love to make money, but the difference we're making in the guys like you are is super important. But what I want you to talk to is the guys that are trying to, because it's not just a matter of, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe in that guys just put their hand up and say, right, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to build a business, $1 million or $2 million or $5 million business. I believe there's parts of some guys that are actually a better second in command than they. I've got one franchised operator who's got a really good guy. He does not want to be the number one dog. He does not want to be the lead dog, but he's a superb second in command. So
Yeah.
you want to address the guys that are sitting there going, of course I want to make more money, Tom. They might be better off going and finding another GC in the area to work for because there's more of a complementary role. They might want to just do their 40 hours like this other guy. He's got a ski boat. He likes to go skiing in the winter. He wants a lifestyle. He's not really interested in making a mark. So I want your listeners, my listeners, to understand that not every one of us is called to be the lead dog. Speak to that a little bit, Tom.
Well, you covered so much of it. Like, I think it's just being honest with yourself, not BSing yourself, not
True.
putting yourself in the doghouse. If you look in the mirror and say, I really don't want to be a business owner.
Exactly.
You know, like we get to, I was part of a group many years ago where if you weren't building like this $50 million company with hundreds of employees, you were kind of made, the culture of the group was you were made to feel like you weren't successful. All right. And I don't ever want to put that on anybody. You define your own success. Like, you know, I got a guy that is in one of our programs. He's owns a business, has a helper. They work 3 to 4 days a week for like 9 months a year. His business does like 360 to 380 a year, and he puts 180 in his pocket every year, and he goes fishing all the time. And he takes most of his income and puts it into retirement as a millionaire, and he's happy, right?
Brilliant.
So you define your own success is what I would tell you. So if you, some people like my right-hand guy in the contractor fight, he is so content not being the number one.
Exactly. Right.
He loves being behind the scenes. It fires him up. He knows when he sees our success, he's back there going, I did that, you know, like he's all proud of it and stuff.
Sure.
When I'm just the guy on the videos and stuff, you know, so it's like, but he's really the one making things happen. So, so there's that side of it. Then I would also encourage these people, seek out somebody that has our mindset to go work for, somebody who's continually growing, who's going to see the value in that number two guy, who's not going to let his ego get in the way from letting you do the things you want to do to help grow the business. You know, what do they call it in the EOS world, right? You got the visionary and you got the integrator, right? That's really what that is. It's that integrator that's making everything happen, making that vision come to life. I interviewed Cameron Harold on my podcast a couple times, and he took, he was the number two at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and he took them from like 2 or 3 million a year to 106 million a year in like 5 or 6 years.
Amazing.
Okay. Because the visionary, Brian Scudamore, I think is his name, he put his ego aside enough and said, all right, I need a great number two. And so none of us are doing this alone, man. So I encourage those, be real with yourself. And if you don't want the stress, I mean, you know this, when you own the business, you've got everyone on your back.
You're the last line of defense.
Yeah, you got everyone on your back. And some people just eat that up like me, and other people just go, no, I just want to do my little role in the world and have fun and do my thing. And neither is right or wrong. As long as you're honest with yourself, it's right.
And I think if you're, one of the variables of success, I believe, amongst a couple other things, is definitely self-awareness. And I think, when I talk to guys in our fourth day, which is business development and strategic planning, I say you've got to be mindful. We talk about goals and priorities. Now, if your goal was to build a $2 million business, but your wife hates you and you've got no time, then your priorities are misaligned with your goals. You need to bring your goal setting process in line with your priorities. If you do that, you'll actually achieve happiness. That's what I believe. And you could have a $2 million business where you're not happy with and it's not giving to you, but a $5 million business, it actually might be your goal and there's a level of happiness there for you, but it is very independent. And I talk to the guys about, you're either going to have a business by design or by default. It's going to be one of those, bro. And if it's a shit fight and you've spent no time designing it, it's your own fault. You need to stop and just think about it. Kick back on a Saturday morning and go, hang on, what is it that I'm actually missing? What do I want? What are my priorities? And then try and really put that together in a format where you can then go and execute. And I talk about reverse engineering. I'm sure you've talked to that about your guys.
Yeah.
Start with the end result in mind, man.
Well, listen, if you're building and I've done this, by the way, so I'm speaking from experience on the bad side too. Like, there was a period in life where everything around me was burning to the ground except for my business.
Yeah, there you go.
Relationships, family, my health, and all this other stuff in the name of building a big ass business. And I was miserable. And so I'm really intentional about how I spend my time now, what I want, what the priorities are. And I would tell somebody listening to this right now, do not Like if your marriage and relationships need your attention right now, then
Yes.
damn it, go to work for somebody else or
Correct.
whatever. Like take that pressure off, because it was the old, many years ago, a Coca-Cola CEO, something Dyson or something, I forget his name. He did this speech where he said, you have your relationships, you have your business, you have your health, all these parts of your life. He says all of these balls, they're all like balls that you're trying to, not drop.
Yep.
And they're all made of glass except for your career and business. That one's made of rubber. That will always bounce back.
Sure.
Don't drop your health. Don't drop your relationships and stuff like that. And that's what I would encourage people, like to, it ain't worth it.
Yeah. All right. Let's. What about? Speak to me about. I went on talking to our group, and we find this is probably the largest struggle in amongst general contractors right now. I've got several of my guys that are saying to me, Max, I have got so much inquiry. I've got so much in the pipeline. I am just really nervous about talking to clients as far as commencement and completion dates because of the challenge that we have around recruitment. And, I talk to my guys, if there's only a takeaway from today, it's certainly if you're going to scale up a business, you need to be able to develop a good culture within your business, understand the influence it has on your bottom line, and you've got to be a good talent scout. You've got to be able to sort of like hire quickly, fire quickly. Some people say hire slowly, but everyone's good on their first day in their resume. Give me a week on the tools with you and I'll certainly figure it out for myself. And so these guys are we're trying to really always tweak how we go about finding better staff. And because we're in the renovation sector mostly, we require some really good quality superintendents, lead carpenters helpers, that sort of thing. What insight, if there's guys out there going, Max, yes, that's what I struggle with. I've got the same problem as your guys. I've got plenty of leads, potentially plenty of projects, but I'm just starving for, good quality internal guys. Subs as well, recruiting good subs is certainly another HR management challenge. What do you guys, what do you suggest to your guys when they're in that predicament?
Yeah. Most guys don't like to hear this because it's not a quick fix.
Okay.
But this to me, if you simply commit to building your brand, you will over time become a magnet to other winners that want to come work for you.
I believe that.
All right. Most people, when they hire, I've made this mistake many times, is I'm only hiring when I need somebody, and that's the worst time to hire somebody. It's like, the worst time to go get a loan is when you need the money.
True.
Right? Because you're desperate. And so one of the things that we encourage is 365 days a year, you're building your brand. You're strengthening your culture. You're loving up and taking care of the people that you already have. And it's that inside out approach. And so when you're constantly building your brand, I mean, we got these things called, supercomputers we walk around with in our pockets that can do video. I mean, I'm talking team meetings, crew highlights, having fun, water skiing on a weekend with your crew, whatever it is. Just build that brand, because the people you want, they're working for somebody else, and chances are they're unsatisfied over there. And so that's where I see is a lot of guys don't become the champion of their marketing and building the brand because they think it's just about customers, but it's really about building your whole team and about customers. And so, and then from there, it's like being intentional about the culture that you want to build, that, and meeting the needs of other human beings and understanding how people are wired. That's all part of the voodoo of it. But to me, it all starts with, you got to be attractive. Yeah. And, a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't want to wrap my truck and I don't want to do this. And I saw you had a video on that. I did a video last year on wrap your damn truck, right? We each did the same video because I'm like, Jesus, guys, if you have to be your own biggest fan.
Well, let's talk about
be proud of what you're building and this and that. And I mean, listen, we're building the crap out of the Contractor Fight because my mission is to change, bring respect and dignity back and help people stop stealing from their families. So I've given contractors and my employees on my team here something to rally around. That's what I mean by build your brand. What are you going to stand for?
Yeah, look, I think, you want to be, it's like that life-giving, life-taking. You want to be attractive. Nobody wants to work for the ugly duckling in the building game, right? So really, this goes back to you've got to step up and you've got to become the person that you want to work for. That's really around that. And so talk to us about the, the word brand gets kicked around a fair bit, but I'm telling you, most of the guys in the building game, they look at me and start growing horns and claws, because when I mention brand, they're like, we don't even have an idea what we're supposed to do with that, how we build that. But what I know is that, a good quality brand really develops trust. And I know what we do to do that. What do you advise your group of, contractors and GCs to do to get started with building a brand? Because it does sound a bit witchcraft and sorcery.
Yeah. Well, to me, the simple version is a brand is the story you tell, right? It's what you're known for. I say Walmart, your listeners think something. I say BMW, they think something. That's really the beginning of the brand, right? Yeah. To me, a brand is also a promise. I know that when I go to a certain restaurant, we have a place here in Colorado Springs where I live, I know that when I go to this restaurant, I'm going to have amazing food. It's going to be a great experience. That's their promise, and they deliver on it every time. That's their brand. And so, to build your brand, you got to be intentional about who you want to be. What do you want to be known for as a company? And that's where a lot of guys don't do the hard work of that.
Yeah,
right?
they specialize in everything, which is not cool.
They just go, I want to do, I need to do some advertising, and I'm like, no. Let's back up. Who do you want to attract? What type of projects do you want to do? What do you want to be known for? So out of the gate, to me, that's really what brand means. How to build that brand. And it takes some time to kind of figure out in any business who you really want to be. I get that. I got a guy that I'm thinking of right now who's a painting contractor, and he's now known as just being an interior painter. And that's all they do is interiors. Like, they just focus on, but the brand is more than just them doing it. What service they do. It's what am I going to get when I call this company? I'm going to get a red carpet experience. I know they're going to start and finish when they say they are, because part of what they did is they realized they can't control the weather, but they can control the interior painting schedule. 100%. So now they can guarantee their interior projects. So all these, it's usually all the things that surround the actual physical work we do that makes up your brand, the experience you give people. And that's where I see it's really easy to blow those things off, because those things are kind of the hard mental work that we have to do.
I mean, and further, to your point, Tom, you get, it's amazing, because I've only got to spend 5 minutes on Instagram and look at all the GCs in my neck of the woods, and it makes me throw up in my mouth, because they're all saying quality service and, great product and all this kind of rhetoric, which is just means zero to the clients. And so, we don't just say we're consumer centric. We literally, the guys are of the understanding that the minute they get on the phone with these people, their goal and their objective is to turn them into raving fans. And the way we go about doing that, it's very scientific, and there's a lot of psychology around it. But by the end of the project, you've got to be in a position whereby I can have my creative director ring these clients and say, would you be interested in providing a video testimonial to help other, homeowners make a decision as to whether or not Smith & Sons would be actually, a building company that would consider doing business with. And of course, if you go to our smithandsons.ca website, you'll see there's got to be 15 video testimonials.
Right.
We would have put together 12 or more this year already, because we just know that what we sell to clients, we have what we call a preferred client profile, and this might resonate with you as well. We've got a specific, we've got a very 50 to 70 is what we're targeting. Our messaging is always directed at that. That is our preferred client profile. We do business with homeowners. We don't work for business owners. We're not a B2B operation. We are a B2C. Well, that's what we do. And of course, we're able to fashion the sales process to target things like customer peace of mind and security and satisfaction. And the way we sell that is, really, and I just had my brand new guy who only went through training last week. He just come to me and said, I had a client that you forwarded on to me that had a budget of 10 grand. It sounds like he's going to close her at 26 grand for a deck.
Nice.
Maybe not as big as the markup as you're talking about, but it's in that same neck of the woods. And, I just think that I talk to my guys that the website, and this is, you probably preach this as well, your website is your 24/7 salesperson. It does a lot of the heavy lifting. It does a lot of the qualification and disqualification. And I've had my guys, and I don't like this comment, but they say to me, Max, I feel like I'm just an order taker. They've got the process down at what they do. Clients come in, they've already made a decision to buy. Like, I hate it when I go to buy a vehicle and I don't know which truck I'm going to get. And I just feel like I make it too easy for the sales guy. So I intentionally go and drag him around the parking lot and make it difficult. But, that's what brand does. Brand enables you to sell to the right person for the right money and do it on your schedule, not having been dragged around.
Well, ultimately, it builds trust. If you're doing it right, it's building trust. You're talking about, somebody goes to your website and they, what they should see is they should know who you are, know what you do, all that. They should know it. Ideally, a website is full of relevant content that answers questions that people have about what do things cost, what are the starting points, this and that, what can I expect? A great resource for people, a good buddy of mine, a guy named Marcus Sheridan. He wrote a book several years ago called They Ask You Answer. He was a pool contractor. Now he's one of the top marketing speakers in the world. And he does some workshops for us a couple times a year and stuff. And he basically saved his business in the last recession in 2008 by he was pecking away at 1 a.m. on his computer, answering questions on it and putting them up on his swimming pool blog. Mm-hmm. And it saved his company because he was building the brand that he was positioning himself as the expert in the industry. Mm. And so everybody then started comparing whoever they were talking to Marcus's company.
Right. He was the resource, the authority.
Yeah, he was the authority. And that's what you're doing. That's why you have a podcast. That's why you have a YouTube channel. That's what I'm doing. And that's when you truly become an order taker, is when your website, like you said, is that 24-hour salesperson. Because there's some stat out there that my web guy could nail that I'll butcher, but something like 80% of the buying decision is already made that they're going with you by the time they fill out a form on your site or call you. That they're 80% of the way there, or some number like that. And now it's just on you not to screw it up.
We look, the sooner I get my guys to understand that the wall of distrust that is built by homeowners and our clients is up. Mm-hmm. I don't care. You look good, you smell good, you've got branding and everything, but bro, they still don't trust you. So you've got to deconstruct the wall of distrust. It starts with what's on your website. It then will carry on through the building of rapport and the way you deal with customers. My guys are banned from asking for the business until they reach about 8 to 10 touch points. Guys, you've got to spend time interacting with these clients, because if you go too early, they're going to resist purely because they don't trust you. So it's a tactical maneuver. It's like, work hard, and then, you'll get out of your business what you put in, and understand that clients just don't trust you. But over time, as you're a professional and you're consistent and you're delivering that, what we're doing is we're innovative disruptors, and we're re-engineering the client experience in the contractor game. And I mean, I listen to what you're talking about and look at your podcasts, and it's just, you're singing from the same songbook, right?
Well, you talk about trust. One of the, why don't people trust contractors? Because most contractors, I will say, have not embraced the idea that they're not in the tool slinging business anymore, right? When you put your business card out there, you buy a franchise, whatever, you're no longer a craftsman first. You are a business person first. And when you don't have that mentality, you think it's about the work you're doing instead of the experience. So you don't honor the commitments that you make. You say you're going to call between a certain time, you don't call. You say you're going to show up, you say you're going to have a proposal over to somebody at a certain time, and you don't. Everything we do that doesn't fulfill what we said we would do erodes the trust from the customer.
100%.
Or when you go to somebody's, I don't know about you, but like I'm big on talking about pricing and what things cost, right? Because everybody wants to know that. You go to if I Google how much does a bathroom remodel cost, and I go to your website, and then it says, call our salesperson and they'll fill this out and our salespeople call you back. I just want a quick answer. I'm just trying to do some budgeting here. I'm not trying to and that takes trust away. And there's a bunch of things I could talk on that, but I just think, do what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it. If you have an opt-in page, or you have an ad that says, how much a bathroom costs, and somebody clicks on it and you don't answer that question, they're more likely to back button out because you didn't fulfill what you promised, and now trust is eroded. So trust is such a huge thing.
It's
man.
The currency, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Tom. Just look. That's been awesome. Just chat with me about where your book's at, and just chat to me about some of the, and a bit of a promo on the Contractor Fight and all that sort of stuff. Let's go there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I wrote a book. It's coming out right now called Winning the Contractor Fight. Obviously, the battle between our ears. We talk about everything from owning your crap to who you're hanging out with, to a little bit about the money and the mindset around how to price your work. We get into building your brand and building your team and recruiting, a bunch of good stuff. And people could go, it officially launches on October 23rd. We handed out 350 or so copies at our event, but it launches, it'll be available on Amazon. But also, if you go to the contractorfight.com/book, you can get it for free. It'll just cost shipping and handling. All right. And we'll ship you all a copy, whoever opts in there. And you can go to that, they can go to that page anytime now, the contractorfight.com/book. And then once it releases, we'll send a link out for them to get it and order the thing. And like I said, it's free other than shipping and handling.
Cool, man. Any other final words, plugs, your handles? I'm not sure. Have you got anything else you want to add? Any final words?
Yeah, you go anywhere online and type in the Contractor Fight, you'll run into us. My Instagram is real Tom Reber, and because we have a Contractor Fight and then my personal. But yeah, we're all over the place, man. I got a great team of coaches and stuff like that, helping people all over the place. Like I said earlier, we do more free content than anybody on the planet, so there's a lot of good stuff there. There's lots of people that have never joined our programs that are kicking butt in business because they implement something they picked up on one of our pieces of content. We're super proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Good as gold, man. Tom, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been the quickest 40-odd minutes of my life. So we appreciate
Likewise, man. I appreciate it.
Taking the time out and just sharing with us a few key points as it relates to the building game. And we look forward to catching up with you again in some time in the future. It's great. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Max. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Righto, everybody. You know the drill. Like and subscribe. Hit the notifications bell. All of the handles and links to the Contractor Fight will be in the information below. Look, hit me up on max@businessforbuilders.ca if you've got any questions. And certainly you can even text 250-241-8866 if you want a little bit more personal information, and we'll respond to you as quickly as we can. But it's been great to have you with us. We appreciate your ear. We trust that added value, and we look forward to catching up with you on the next episode. Go build a kick-ass business. We'll see you then.